So, I'm going to tell you all the story about the story of creation. And in the beginning, God, of course, created the heaven and the earth, right? So, he created like all the birds, trees, and everything like that, and even me and you and me. And he gave us like free will around the earth, and he put Adam and Eve into this garden, and he's like, don't touch this particular tree, everything else you can have. But Eve gets tricked by the serpent and she eats the fruit, which causes us to have sin come into all of our lives because of the fall, right? So at the time, God calls on Abraham to take his family up from his hometown and go out and live somewhere else without knowing exactly what he's going to do. And Abraham, he goes and he listens. And so God's like, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless your family. I'm going to bless everything you touch, basically, because of your obedience to me. And Abraham is over the moon about it, but he just wonders how it's going to happen because he doesn't have any kids and his wife can't have any kids. But God promises him a son. And that is where Isaac comes along. Now, after Isaac is born, God puts Abraham to a test to see how faithful he is to him and challenges him to sacrifice his son. And even though Abraham is like really hurt about it and whatnot, he goes ahead and he prepares the altar to get ready to sacrifice Isaac. And just as he's getting ready to sacrifice Isaac, God stops him. He gives him a ram that is then what he has to use for the sacrifice. So God provides. And fast forward to the Hebrew getting transported to Egypt. They were slaves, and God sends Moses, which is a baby that's protected and shielded and raised up by the Egyptians. He later finds out that he's actually an Israelite. So he gets real angry and he goes off and he sees one of the Egyptians whipping one of his people and he kills him. And then he flees. But God comes to him in a burning bush and tells him, I'm going to use you to go free my people. So Abraham's like real worried about how he's going to get the people out of Egypt. But God says he's going to cause Pharaoh to let his people go. So God sends like all these different plagues of locusts and turns the Red Sea into blood, and just like the final thing he does is sends the angel of death to kill the firstborn, which stops Pharaoh's reign. So his son is murdered and he lets the people go. The next thing you know, they're traveling out of Egypt and God delivers them out of the hands of Pharaoh through the Red Sea. He splits it. And then he drowns those that are chasing behind him. And let me see. So they end up wandering around for over 40 years because they start worshiping other idols. They start complaining about God and all those different things. And God eventually tells them, like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna, continue chasing behind you guys because you guys evidently don't want to be with me. So he sends them into exile. And that's basically just saying that the kingdom was defeated and whatnot. Now, I missed a little part, and that's when David comes along because the people start wanting a king. So God gives them a king, which is Saul, and Saul becomes cocky and thinks that he's bigger than God. So God takes his anointing from Saul and anoints David, who has a heart behind God's heart, after God's own heart. Now, David, after he becomes king, is faithful to God, and so God establishes a covenant with him that through him the Messiah will come, which is Jesus. And so down the road, after David dies and after the Israelites are in exile, God brings everything back together through Mary, and who we are celebrating this season right now of Jesus' birth. And Jesus comes and he begins to teach and preach the gospel to all the people. And right now today, that is where we finish off with us being able to live for the Lord, and the ultimate sacrifice has already been paid, and it's up to us to continue bringing more and more people into God. And the story's still being written right now. So that's my story.